Welcome to rSlash Off My Chest, where OP discovers that her 11-year-old son is touching himself to pictures of her. Our next Reddit post is from Character Fold. My 11-year-old stepson has photos on his tablet of me for sexual reasons. I noticed this tonight while I was in the pool with the younger kids. My 11-year-old stepson went inside and grabbed his tablet. Then he ran back out and was sitting in a chair, very obviously taking photos of me. He then ran into the basement and shut the door. Just last week, I opened the open concept basement door to find him touching himself. I checked his tablet after bed, and it has multiple photos of my top and my bottom cropped from various dates. It's disturbing, and I don't know what the hell to do. These kids were abused at their mother's house before coming to live with us over a year ago. He's very impulsive ADHD, is a preteen, and a traumatized child. So how the hell does their dad and I go about this? And yes, we do have a therapist. Then we have this top comment from Adge Focus. Whatever you do, don't let this behavior go. My cousin had photos like this of me on his phone years ago when he was probably 16. I once woke up to him doing the same thing that you caught your stepson doing, but in front of my face while I was asleep. When I woke up, I was horrified. The worst thing about it is my aunt did nothing about it, so I had to move out. Had my aunt done something at 11, then I don't believe that situation would have happened. You, your spouse, your therapist, and your stepson need to have a sit down together to talk to your therapist privately. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a pathologist, I'm not an expert on this type of behavior, but it seems to me like this is exactly the type of behavior that will escalate. It'll go from pictures to videos to inappropriate spying to inappropriate touching to eventually, forced assault. Our next Reddit post is from Vanzier. My wife has Pavloved me. My wife has a dress that she wears that's my absolute favorite dress. It's an ankle-length dress made out of t-shirt material. It's also tie-dyed. It fits her personality and spirit exactly. And though I never knew it, it was also a sure sign for some lovin'. She also never wears panties with that dress. And I always notice the lack of panties, and then I become a little feral for the remainder of the day. Today we were chatting after dinner, and I'd remarked on how much I love it when she wears that dress because of how she smiles when she puts it on. She reminded me about the no panties, and it just clicked. I literally can't leave her alone when she wears that dress. I didn't even realize how much I was following her around. It's honestly sort of hilarious, and she's obviously encouraging it. So I guess it's a win all around. Now that I know, I guess that I'm just gonna post this and go chase her around the house for a bit. OP, I for one would like to say, congratulations on getting laid. Our next Reddit post is from Lich Lovers. I'm a 20-year-old woman, and I've been friends with these two girls, Charlie and Alex, who are 20 and 19. We've been very close since middle school. We get along, and we fangirl over the same anime, K-pop bands, artists, etc. One day, we decide to go to our favorite spot, Chili's. We always separate the bill, and there's zero issues. However, Alex decided to invite a male friend, John, who's 18, which was fine with all of us. The food was good, as usual, and the server asked if we should split or do one check. Then Charlie, who usually separates the check, says, all one check. I thought it was just her feeling generous that day, but then they started giving John shit-eating grins. Charlie said, John, you're paying for us, just to be clear. John says, what? With visible confusion on his face. Alex and Charlie giggle, get up, and then leave. They signaled me to go as well, but I was just as confused as John was. What the hell just happened? Me and John just sit there awkwardly. The check comes to $125. I tell the server to give us a moment to provide payment. I only had $30, which was enough to cover me, and John only had $40. Charlie texted our group chat asking if I was coming with them, and I told them, what the hell are you doing? Then they went on some kind of BS that John should want to impress us and that it's a man's role to treat us like a princess or some garbage. I thought they were joking, but they were dead serious. And when I went outside to physically confront them, they were serious. Because they left me and John with no ride and the bill. I called my dad to see if he could spare me $60 and I explained the situation. But what? He agreed with Alex and Charlie, huh? He said this is John's problem now and not mine. It was like a scene out of a movie. I was in complete disbelief. I explained the situation to the server, who was super cool, and said that if you can't produce the payment now, I can just leave a number and they can charge me tomorrow. As a last-ditch effort, I called my uncle for money and he immediately understood and sent me some cash. He even said that he would drive over to pick up me and John. I paid the tab. I apologized heavily to John about the entire situation, but he was actually really chill and super grateful for what I was doing. He only had $40 from his birthday money. Later, I get a text from Alex in the group chat asking if John paid for the tab. I said, no, I did. And they got mad at me. Then my dad asked what happened, and I told him the truth, and he got mad at me. Do I live in the Twilight Zone? Am I crazy for not wanting to ruin a friend's life over Chili's? Anyways, Alex texted, I'm just not going to invite guys to our plans anymore. I then left the group chat and then blocked both Alex and Charlie. John also cut ties with those two girls, and we started talking more and more, and we sometimes play Fortnite together. Anyways, moral of the story, you think you know someone. Yeah, Opie, I'm 100% on your side. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going through their heads. You know, okay, so it's two selfish girls. They're trying to manipulate John. I understand the logic, even though what they're doing is really selfish and evil. I understand why they're doing it. What I can't figure out is the dad. How does he think it's some random, just because he has a dick and balls, he has to pay the bill, huh? Our next Reddit post is from Star Rain. So I'm a 16-year-old girl, and I decided to go to a local coffee shop and get a drink. Then I spotted my dad with this woman. It's not that big of a deal. They could have been coworkers or something. Then he started brushing her hair out of her face while he was talking, and he had a big smile on his face. That was definitely something you don't normally do with just a friend or coworker. So I started recording. Then they kissed, which where I'm from, you definitely don't do with a friend. I also noticed that this woman is in her mid to late 20s, while my dad is 41. I also noticed this woman is very much pregnant, probably around 8 months. After I got my drink, I decided to confront my dad and walk up to them. I just said, "Hey Dad, what are you doing?" He looked shocked, but then said, "Oh, just getting coffee with a friend." I decided to be brave and said, "So you kiss all your friends like that?" I saw the panic in his eyes, and he quickly said, "Don't tell your mom." I then asked him if the baby was his. He said, "Yes," without even looking at me. I said, "Wow, you had at least 9 months to tell your mom about the affair, but you haven't. I'm really disappointed in you," and I left. My dad has a job in business, whatever that means, so we always thought that he was busy at work, but we now see where he spent some of his time. I'm gonna text my mom right away, but she's at work and she's a nurse, so I don't want to distract her from an important job. So I'll tell her when I get home from school. I feel really bad for my mom. She told me this morning that my dad had an early morning meeting. I could see sadness in her eyes, and I asked her what was wrong, and she admitted to wishing that he was home with us more. So, yeah, I can't believe my dad did this, but my mom definitely deserves better though. Then OP posted an update. So I told my mom, and she was upset and cried for a while and wanted to be left alone. Then my dad came home with flowers trying to suck up. Long story short, they yelled and argued a lot, and now my mom and I are packed up going to my grandma's. Our next Reddit post is from Inevitable Bunch. I've been married to my wife for 6 years now. When we got married, she said she wanted to do minor cosmetic procedures on her face to help with her insecurities. She's been insecure her whole life, so I was as supportive as I could have been. She got lip filler and Botox on her face. After a few months, she got more lip filler, and now her lips look scary to me, but she was very happy with them, so I didn't say anything. Next, she wanted to get her boobs done. Again, she's happy with how they turned out, but I thought they looked weird. They're so big and stiff, and my wife is a petite, skinny woman, so it just doesn't look proportional to the rest of her body. But again, it made her happy, so I was fine with it. Last year, she said that she was going to get a Brazilian booty lift. This time, I actually told her that I wasn't going to support her on this one because that's a dangerous procedure. There was a story on the internet that went viral a month or so prior about a woman who died during her BBL procedure. I was scared for her. I asked her if she could see therapy or a psychiatrist about her body dysmorphia, but she refused, saying that therapy never helped before. She said she was doing it with her own money anyway, so I didn't have a say in it. I shut up and took care of her after the procedure. I was so glad that she was safe and the procedure went well, but in all honesty, it was horribly done. The doctor made her hips so wide. Her thighs and waist are really small, so again, it just doesn't look proportional. Now the problem is that I genuinely just don't find her physically attractive anymore, and I don't know what to do about it. I want nothing more than to be madly attracted to her as I was years ago, but everything she's done to her body makes her look slightly terrifying to me. I love her, and I don't think that'll change, but I hate having intercourse with her now. I don't enjoy it, but ever since she got the BBL, her sex drive has increased. Meanwhile, mine has basically tanked. I thought of talking to her, but I'm not sure what good it'll do besides making her feel bad. There's nothing that can be done now anyways. She's confident and happy in her body for the first time in her life, and I don't want to ruin it. So I obviously won't ever say anything to her about this. I love every aspect of our relationship, so that's just gonna have to be enough. I just saw some Twitter post where a woman got Botox and she asked the doctor, "Is this gonna make me look young?" And the doctor said, "No, it's just gonna make you look like every other woman your age who got Botox." You know, I just heard recently that in South Korea, something like 25% of all South Korean women have gotten plastic surgery. And that is just a mind-boggling number to me. Our next Reddit post is from Bed. My 4-year-old daughter possibly saved my life yesterday. I had just dropped my wife off to pick up her car from the mechanic. Then I came home with my 2 girls who are 2.5 and 4. We got inside the house. I remember trying to put my youngest down for a nap, but she was fighting it, so we came back into the lounge room. At that point, I remember having a really sudden, really strange sensation come over me, like really loud white noise, like my head was exploding. I remember thinking, oh shoot, I better call the ambulance. I then typed the emergency number into my phone, then nothing. I just blacked out. The next thing I remember is groggily seeing some cops and an ambulance come through the front door. I was extremely disoriented and had no idea what was going on. The cop sat me down on my couch, asked me a few questions, then the ambulance started attending to me. I had no idea where my wife was, so I asked if I could call her. She answers the phone and doesn't understand why I'm asking where she is because it's only been 20 minutes since I dropped her off. One of the cops then talked to my wife and explained what happened. She rushes home and is extremely distraught when she gets home seeing me with a drip in my arm being taken by the ambulance to a hospital. One of the ambulance guys thinks that I had a mini stroke, but later they ruled that out at the hospital when my brain CT and other tests came back fine. The doctors now believed that I had a seizure brought on by low phosphate due to my intermittent fasting diet. Apart from being very sore and tired today and having some nasty bite marks on my tongue, I should recover fine. Later, when I regained my senses, I found out that my eldest daughter picked up the phone that I dropped on the ground and spoke to the operator. She told them, "Daddy won't wake up," and that I was on the floor panting and breathing funny. Then she also managed to tell them our actual street address. We always talk about that. She stayed on the phone until cops and an ambulance arrived. The fact that there were young children unattended with an adult in distress meant that they got here super quick. The presence of mind shown by my daughter has absolutely blown me away. I'm just so proud of her and thankful for what she did. Luckily, it wasn't a stroke, but if it was, she could well have saved my life. She knows she did the right thing. She's very proud of herself for talking to the lady on the phone, but I don't think she understands the full extent of it. I don't know how to explain to her what she did was actually amazing. Our next Reddit post is from Shia Goddess. My sister's boyfriend beat her up and sent her to the hospital. My husband said she deserved it? Whoa! So my younger sister, who's 23, got beat up so badly by her boyfriend over over laundry. Wow, okay. And she got taken to the hospital for a dislocated shoulder and a broken finger. My parents are filing a police report and are pushing to have her boyfriend charged. My husband heard this, and his reaction was to lean back and say she deserved it and that she had it coming. Why? His excuse is that my sister is being babied by my parents and that she isn't fit to be in an adult relationship. Moreover, he said that her boyfriend had probably hit his limit with her and basically treated him as if he was the victim of abuse. I was shocked to hear him say this, and quite frankly worried that he'd condone and even justify such horrible behavior displayed by my sister's boyfriend. I couldn't sleep thinking about what he said, especially after I asked if he would do what that guy did if he ever hit his limit with me, and his response was to just stare at me. I don't know, I'm just not comfortable with his stance in this situation, and I never expected him to say this. Yeah, I agree with the top post here from Jaded Profession. That's not a red flag, that's a flare. That was rSlash Off My Chest, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.